following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
"30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee," featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick and Michael Sindrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It's a football Friday in the Music City. Got a lot of things to cover, including the Titans' victory last night in Green Bay against the Packers. First, let's say hello to Billy Derrick. Billy, how are you?
George, I'm doing great today. I'm looking forward to talking with Terry, the man who broke the scoop or I guess it was early this morning. Not the most encouraging news for Titans fans, but Terry was on top of it.
We'll get to that here. About the time the Titans really wanted to celebrate this big win last night in Green Bay, they got this news concerning offensive coordinator Todd Downing, who was arrested early this morning for a DUI. Terry, talk to us about what you know and where this is headed.
Well, George, there's still a lot of things to be taken into consideration and evaluated and investigated. Todd Downing was arrested shortly, apparently after the team plane landed, and he was on his way home. He wound up being booked into jail at around in the 4 o'clock in the morning hour, and then released from jail about 6:45 a.m. He was traveling down I-65, apparently at a high rate of speed, and the Tennessee Highway Patrol officer that pulled him over noticed a smell of alcohol on his breath, and he was arrested then. So still a lot of things that have to be uncovered, whether there's going to be any immediate disciplinary action, whether they have to wait and let the legal process play itself out, and what exactly type of situation, how much discipline there will be in this matter.
Terry, in the Vrabel era, has there been any of this? How have they normally handled? What can we glean from that?
Well, there's not been a lot of it. The Titans have not had a lot of disciplinary actions that have had to be taken. There've been a couple of little minor things here and there. There was
Pac-Man's gone.
Yes, there was an incident a few years ago, a minor thing involving Darren Bates and marijuana possession. Other than that, there hasn't been a whole lot that's really come down the pike in terms of these types of things lately, or anything at least that's been reported. If anything happened, it probably was, kept a hush-hush.
Terry, around the league, how does this kind of thing get handled?
Well, I think, different teams probably handle it different ways. There's some teams that probably would go ahead and cut ties with somebody if they were already maybe looking for a reason to do that anyway. There are other teams that probably would fine or suspend a guy. The league probably needs to have a blanket policy. And as I understand it, there is a 3-game suspension that is supposed to be in effect in the personal conduct policy. Now, there's some people that are debating as to whether that applies to players only, or if that applies to all NFL personnel. I believe, if I'm correct, it does apply to all NFL personnel. So that could be what ends up being the final result here.
Okay, on the field, really good stuff last night in Green Bay. How did they come out of it injury-wise?
Well, George, they had a couple of guys that weren't able to finish the game. The biggest one of those, Danico Autry, who has a knee injury. Mike Vrabel did say today that he's going to miss some time, but it's not a season ender. So that is the good news in that regard. The bad news, obviously, is that Danico Autry, though he kind of gets lost a little bit in the shadow of Jeffrey Simmons and Bud Dupree and some of these other guys, Danico Autry has been one of the most consistent players this team has had over the past couple of seasons. And if they lose him for any period of time on top of some of the other guys that they've already lost, that's going to be a big jolt for this team. The other one was Christian Fulton, who missed last week's game on Sunday with a hamstring injury. He went back out there, apparently re-injured that hamstring in the game Thursday night, was unable to finish, but they got a surprisingly good result from rookie cornerback Trey Avery, an undrafted kid from Rutgers, who stepped in. And even though Aaron Rodgers was trying to pick on him there at the end, he held up really well and it helped play a big part in the Titans' victory there at the end.
Terry, has he been with the team all year long?
He has. He was one that made the team as a long shot, an undrafted rookie, as I said, from Rutgers. I asked John Robinson about him when he first made the 53-man roster, and Robinson said he started out as a late signee, undrafted, and was at the very bottom of the depth chart entering training camp, but worked his way up, was impressive in the practices, in the joint practices that they had, and also in preseason work. And then obviously, if you're an undrafted rookie, not only had you better be able to show that you can play your position, you got to show you can play on special teams. And that's really where he kind of made his contribution before last night.
Okay, so they get what I guess we call a mini bye, where you get, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday now that's not football. How do they handle it from the time they landed until they really practice again?
Well, they're going to take off about 4 days. They're going to get off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. They'll come back in on Tuesday, and Tuesday will be like a normal Wednesday because they're going to give the players Thanksgiving Day off. So they're going to practice Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday next week in regards to getting ready for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah. I think this mini bye, it's always easier to say, boy, it'll help after you win. But I think this is going to be really good for this team.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about it. They are so beat up and so banged up. And some of that, I guess, you can attribute to the physical style of play that they put out there, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And the fact that they've been able to plug guys in and bring guys off the street, that's a great reflection on this coaching staff of what they've been able to accomplish with this roster. But when it gets right down to it, you'd rather have the healthier players, the fresher players, your starters, if you could. And certainly 3 or 4 extra days off for this Titans team can't hurt in that regard.
Terry, appreciate it as always. Thanks for the visit.
All right. Have a good weekend, George.
You too. That's Terry McCormick, and that's his daily Titans update.
Yes, it is, and it has been brought to you by Sumner Funeral and Cremation. They are sharing their family with yours in your time of need, now with 2 convenient locations in Gallatin and Hendersonville, and also online at sumnerfuneral.com. Sumner Funeral and Cremation, traditional, affordable, and dignified. Don't forget as well about the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners. They are proven to be trusted with your most personal asset. The Justin Tucker team, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty. Give them a call at 615-906-8458. All right, let's roll into today's update, George. Of course, we just got all the Titans information we need. Other NFL news, Lamar Jackson is currently sick, but he is going to play on Sunday against Carolina. Head coach John Harbaugh said that he will play. He'll be fine. He tried to get to practice, but he was just too sick. So I guess Lamar's going to try to fight through that sickness on Sunday.
Sounds like he's going to be able to.
Up next, George, Buffalo has canceled practice with a snowstorm hammering Buffalo. The Bills will forego their final practice of the week as they prepare to face Cleveland on Sunday. So all that snow, I guess they're not even able to practice.
Have you seen the pictures?
Yeah.
Coming out of Buffalo? My God. How in the world First of all, I don't know that I've ever seen that much snow in one snowfall. But I mean, if they had decided to play there, how in the world would you do it?
You wouldn't. I saw some fans on Twitter tweeting about how they wish they could have played in this, but no, that would not have gone well for any player involved.
By the way, University of Buffalo Akron game has also been canceled.
Okay. Ex-NC State player George has been arrested for stalking current head coach Dave Doran. Former player Joseph Bolatapelli was arrested this week and charged with misdemeanor stalking and communicating threats towards Wolfpack head coach Dave Doran. He was charged with resisting a public official after police say he pulled away to avoid being handcuffed during his arrest. Crazy story there. Don't like hearing that.
No, what in the world?
It just keeps getting weirder, I feel like.
Keep going.
Lee Corso will return to College Game Day, George, and Bozeman on Saturday. So that's good to see. Good to see for him, and College Game Day is better with him.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, this has been a tough year for him health-wise. Lee Corso is in his 80s. I do wonder if this is either the end this year or if they try to say, okay, in the future, you'll just do your part of this from your home.
Yeah, it's what it's starting to feel like, at least right now.
Yeah.
So we'll keep track of that. Interesting college hoops score today, George. In the Myrtle Beach Invitational, UMass has pulled off, I guess you could say, an upset over Murray State, 71-69. We saw it in here before we started. It was a crazy game-winning shot with about, I think there's 4 or 5 seconds left. They inbound it, full court. It hit a game winner, so UMass ends up getting the win there.
First of all, Murray had ripped into Texas A&M last night, beat them by 9 to advance to the semifinal round. This is in Myrtle Beach, as Billy said, and a kid for UMass, by the way, being coached by former South Carolina coach Frank Martin.
Yeah.
Kid hits just a ridiculous shot falling back in the corner. Tough loss for Murray State. They look like they're pretty good.
They do.
Again.
They do. And UMass is going to be better with Frank Martin. They
won't be dull.
No, they won't. They'll play defense too.
They have no choice.
Martin, you got to play defense if you're playing under Coach Frank Martin.
Frank, you got to play D.
Oh, yeah. That's it for the update, George.
Okay, let me tell people a little bit of what we're going to do. We're going to do Watson's Titans analysis, only I'm going to do the analyzing. Watson will be back with us on Monday.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but you know what? I talked to Watson, and I got...
So he gave you the go-ahead?
He gave me 4 keys.
You're feeling prepared?
He said, I know you don't know what you're doing, but do your best. And then we'll hear a pretty good chunk of Mike Vrabel's press conference today. I have not listened to it. My guess is at the beginning, there's a lot of Todd Downing. By the way, what a shame that Vrabel, who ought to be able to celebrate a great win last night, had to deal with this. I feel bad for Vrabel.
Yeah, I mean, I woke up and saw that, and I was like, what? Are you kidding me? I mean, that's not good. So we'll see. I mean, Terry's right. There's still a lot to sort out here. I mean, we don't know if he's going to come back. We don't know if he is coming back, when he comes back. So there is a lot to sort through with this situation here.
Okay, so that's a little bit of what we're going to do in the 4 o'clock hour. During the 5, we'll get into week number 3 of the high school playoffs in the state of Tennessee. Zach Womble will join us. And then I will have a bunch of bets of the day for the big college and pro football weekend that is upon us. So you stick around. We've got plenty more coming. This is Main Street Media Television.
Buying or selling a home can be a very personal experience. Why not go with the team that receives nearly all of their business from referrals? Clearly a trusted name in real estate. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners has sold more than 500 homes in the last 7 years. Voted best in Sumner County multiple times. Proven to be trusted with your most personal assets. Call the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners at 615-906-8458. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you. When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
This is Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. People hire me because I use a customized, individualized, and personal approach for the person I'm working with. Everyone's situation is different. If you've lost a spouse or a parent and want to make sure your inheritance is utilized and does not just disappear, I can help with that. Call me at 615-235-1058 or email Eric at rockcastlewealth.com.
Okay, we're back. And Watson Brown's Titans analysis, even though he's not here, is brought to you by Pennington Distilling Company. So I got these 4 keys from Watson. Billy, I'll kind of let you start it, and I'll explain where he's going with this.
Okay, number 1, playing the Titans is like playing Army or Navy.
He called it a military game.
Mm-hmm.
And his point is that when you play one of these military teams, they're not going to beat themselves. You're going to have to beat them.
Yep.
And his point is that that is sort of the way the Titans are starting to shape up more and more this season. They play good defense. They really do a great job in the kicking game. And teams are having to beat the Titans. The Titans, for the most part, are not beating themselves, and he's right about that.
Next one, I like this one a lot. I named it, That Train Keeps A-Rolling. Derrick Henry just keeps on moving. He threw a touchdown. I mean, he had that big, long screen that we'll actually show here, George. But he does it all. I mean, how many touchdown passes has he thrown now in his career?
Several.
He's thrown a couple.
There are in that play, you saw a really good block early that freed him, and then the Tim Tebow jump pass. Now, let me ask this question. Are we going to see either one of these again?
I think you might see that jump pass again.
Okay, watch Tannehill with the fake on his end. Watch this. See, he throws or he fakes the throw, and it's actually Henry that's doing the throwing, a la Tim Tebow, touchdown. Now, the screen pass, he got a great block, and then obviously he knew what to do with it. Is there a way to show that again?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's watch this block that frees Henry right there. That's all it took. The rest of it, he kind of does on his own. Good downfield blocking. Derrick Henry is a stud.
Stud.
Period. And again, watch the fake by Tannehill. There it is. And there's the touchdown. And we'll see it one more time because the ability to fake and deceive on both of these plays is really important.
Yeah, and it revolves around Derrick Henry. I mean, that entire Packer defense, walks up to the line expecting Derrick Henry to have the ball and run it into the end zone or at least attempt to, and that he ends up throwing the football to Austin Hooper. So, I mean, that's the type of things you can do when Derrick Henry is being so dominant. You can work around him. You can call your plays that basically revolve around him. And I think Downing, we'll see when he calls the game next, but I thought he did a really good job last night.
It was one of his better efforts.
Tannehill did play a lot better as well, so that helps.
May be the best we've ever seen him play.
Yeah, that throw in the end zone to Hooper, I mean, that was a pretty tight space, and that was a laser. So Tannehill made some big time throws that I don't know that we had seen a whole lot of this year. I mean, I'm not saying he has been playing awful, but he kind of showed a little bit of what he's capable of last night.
On the Hooper front, they have finally figured out, I don't know what the hell took them so long, that they've got to have him. And and he's becoming more and more a key to their offense. If Westbrook Akine today is their number one receiver, and I would argue right now he looks like he is, although Burks had this big night out of nowhere. What was it? Was it over 100?
Yeah. Yeah.
With the long pass at the end?
Yeah, it was over 100. I think 111 maybe. And yeah, they had that long pass at the end, and the Packers did the same thing to the Titans last year, George. If you remember, late in that one, Rodgers kind of heaved one deep, and that was kind of a cherry on top. Titans did the same thing. They gave it back to the Packers in return. So there were some Titans fans that liked that.
You may wonder what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to check really quick and see. The Titans, with the win last night, have moved into the 3.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity.
That commercial that started playing.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their.
Oh, now the Roadcaster's not connected. Good gosh. Lost connection to these.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics, we pride ourselves in providing access, innovation, and a patient experience second to none. Access to care and treatment when you need it. Innovation with medical-led cosmetics and various on-site technologies for full-service treatments with a customer experience that is calming, casual, and effective. Independently owned, providing medical, surgical, pediatric, and cosmetic dermatology and more. Visit WellSkinMD.com to schedule your appointment today. WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics. Access to healthier skin. It's your last chance to get a spring tune-up for summer. Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have cold air on that first hot day of summer. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. That's 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. Have you heard about the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer, second only to smoking, and has no color, no taste, and no smell. The only way to know if you have radon is to test for it. Duret Radon Mitigation offers testing for small and large-scale residential and commercial properties, plus mitigation services. Visit DuretRadonMitigation.com to request testing or get a free estimate for mitigation. That's DuretRadonMitigation.com. Since 1865, the First Baptist Church of Gallatin on Winchester Street has served its community by catering to the least, the last, and the lost, providing a church of welcome used by God to save the lost, transform the saved, and impact its community. As a proud multi-ethnic congregation, Pastor Derek Jackson personally welcomes you to join them in fellowship Sunday mornings at 8 in person or at 1045 in person or online at firstbaptistgallatin.org. First Baptist Gallatin on Winchester Street, serving with open arms as a true church of welcome.
Go ahead and start, and then we'll get to some questions.
Okay, great. First off, I would just like to address the incident that occurred earlier this morning with Todd Downing. I've spoken to Todd. I've spoken to Miss Amy. John and I have been in communication with her, with the league. The league has policies with regards to these incidents, and we'll make sure that the league has all the information that they need. I also know that you have many specific questions regarding the incident, but out of respect to the legal process, the process that the league has, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to answer many of those specific questions. I will say, however, that we all have a great responsibility as members of this community, as coaches and players of this organization, as fathers and husbands and teammates to make great decisions. And we understand that. And so I'll do my best to answer the questions that you have, but also out of respect to the situation, there's going to be some things that I'm not going to be able to talk about.
Teresa?
Mike, one question. There is availability for anyone on the team and in the organization that needs a ride to get a ride, no matter what time of day it is, correct?
Yes, that's correct, Teresa. That's something that we had before I got here, and something that we continue to have. So yes, that's provided through our ownership and the team.
John Gunner.
Yeah, Mike, I know that you're somewhat limited in what you can say, but does the team or do you have any policy or plans in terms of discipline for Todd Downing, or is that strictly an NFL situation?
I think that we're working through all of that right now in our conversations that John and I have had, also between us, our president Burke, and I don't think that we're ready to comment on that, on what that may look like. Again, just remind everybody that the decisions that we have to make have to be great ones, and we'll continue to have conversations with the league, and then also internally.
Terry.
Mike, don't know how much you can comment regarding this either, but with it being a legal matter, does the league policy usually let the legal matter run its course before they institute any form of discipline?
Terry, I can't tell you that that's always been the case. I'm not very confident on that either way. I'm not sure how the league goes about that. We'll just comply with whatever that they ask us to do, and then we'll make a decision and figure out what's next.
Corey.
Hey, Mike, two things. You said you spoke to Todd. Number one, how is he? And number two, can you offer some clarity on what those league policies are?
Well, I have spoken to Todd. The league policies are that we're making sure that we're responsible and that we're making great decisions. We'll continue to work through the league with our actions and our behavior. But the conversation between Todd and I is just like the rest of it with our staff and our players. Will remain with me, and I'll keep those between Todd and
I. Jill.
Coach, have you already talked to the team yet? And if not, how do you plan on addressing this with the rest of the team, especially with them kind of taking a break now before you guys regroup before Tuesday?
Yeah, I mean, there's certain, players that, I reach out to after the game. Our players are off. And I'll make sure that it gets addressed when we get back in here. Still a lot of things that we're working through. And I know that, Jill, you spent a lot of time around us, so have a lot of you guys. And, we'll try to, we'll address it, and we'll provide support where support is needed. And, we'll make sure that, just as always, that there's something that needs to be held accountable. We'll make sure that that person's held accountable. But we'll address it. Obviously, just haven't had a chance really to get the team together, and it's just the timing of
it. Chris Harris.
Hey, Mike, in your experience, both as a player and a coach in the NFL, how often is alcohol on a plane? And is there any regulation on how it's served or moderated or anything?
Well, I think a lot of these are specifics with regards to the incident. I think we're all gathering information right now, Chris. So I won't be able to comment specifically on this or what was in the past or other places that I've been.
Just as a quick follow, just in general, how, in your experience, how often has alcohol been on the plane?
Yeah, I know that these are some specific questions that I'm not going to be able to address at this time, just with regards to the league process and the legal process, and very, very, very sensitive to the situation, and making sure that we're doing everything that we can to provide great decisions with ourselves and the community.
Gentry. Gentry.
Yeah, Mike, just how discouraging is this for you after a pretty good win last night to be sitting here talking about this?
I don't think discouraging, Gentry. I don't want to try to give it an adjective. I don't. It's a part of, it's an incident that came up. It's something that we are going to take very seriously. We're going to gather all the information that we can, figure out what the next step is, and do our best to move forward. So I don't think discouraged, is something that I've thought about today.
A man was critically injured following a crash early Friday morning. Officers at the scene said the victim was driving a pickup truck when he lost control of the vehicle. The pickup veered left and went into a ditch. A front seat passenger was wearing a seatbelt and escaped the crash without injury. The driver was not wearing a seatbelt and was ejected from the truck. He died at the scene. Law enforcement writes tickets to save lives.
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
This holiday season, the largest lantern event in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. After sunset, come see more than 1,000 Chinese lanterns. All new designs including mythical beasts, a fantastical North Pole village, even a dragon soaring over your head. Welcome back to Zoo Illumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.
When I made the decision to host the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night, Strike and Spare is where I turned. And what a wise decision that turned out to be. They have 5 locations in our area with family attractions. They're perfect for birthdays, groups and corporate outings, and holiday parties. For more info, it's simple. Go to strikeandspare.com.
Christmas for Kids is back at the Ryman this November 21st. Christmas for Kids provides children with shopping sprees, coats, and unforgettable experiences every year. This annual fundraising concert helps bring that experience to more kids. This year is hosted by Phil Vassar and includes Chris Young. The frontmen, which is Richie McDonald, formerly of Lone Star, Larry Stewart of Restless Heart, Tim Rushlow, formerly of Little Texas, Essex County, and a whole lot more. Christmas for Kids, November 21st. To purchase tickets, go right now to ryman.com.
Hey everyone, I'm John English. This is Keith Wallace.
and we would like to welcome you to John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee. We specialize in graded and ungraded sports and non-sports cards, vintage wax boxes, and unopened cases. We have a large selection of PSA graded cards. We also specialize in old sports collectibles, baseball, football, basketball, golf, and tennis. You can find it all at John English Antique Sports and Cards. We are happy to be associated with Nashville's greatest sports antique, George Plaster.
Welcome back into the George Plaster Show. It is now time for Stat of the Day, brought to you by John English Vintage Sports and Cards over in Shelbyville, Tennessee. They specialize in antique and historical sports equipment, games, advertising, and other sport-related items. You can find them, of course, in Shelbyville. They're open Tuesdays through Fridays from noon to 5 and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Visit them online at johnenglishgradedcards.com. Also, Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. Call Eric at 615-490-7052 or visit rockcastlewealth.com for more information. Okay, George, no Watson. Again, this has been a tough week for Stat of the Day.
Although I've hung tough.
I would say you've hung in there. You've hung in there as best you could. In the NFL, George, 3 of the top 5 passing yard leaders from the 2012 season are still active today. Who are they? Oh, that's one of the tougher ones we've had.
Russell Wilson might be one of them. Matt Ryan might be one at 37 years old. Aaron Rodgers certainly has to be in there because he's getting up there in age.
You got one of them already, Matt Ryan.
Okay.
So
are you saying
2 guys left?
Are you saying the other 2 are wrong?
Well, yes, the other 2.
Really?
The one you got correct was Matt Ryan.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Well, this is sure fun.
Who were the other 2 you said, by the way, George, again?
Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson.
Yeah, no.
They're not there. Okay. Matthew Stafford.
Bingo.
Okay.
The one left.
Old Matthew's up there pretty good.
Yeah, he's up there.
Age-wise. Okay. Let's think here for a second. Not Oakland, not Kansas City, not Chargers, not Denver, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Cleveland. Don't think it's in the AFC, so let's go NFC. Let's think through this. This is really some good TV.
This is great.
Should I get this?
Yeah, this last guy's
obvious.
I don't know that it's obvious, but he's a pretty damn good quarterback and might still be playing.
Okay.
Some people call him the greatest of all time.
Oh, gosh. Sorry, Mr. Brady. The Brady Bunch.
Stafford, Brady, and Matt Ryan.
God, what a dope.
I would not even been close to getting that one. I was surprised you even got 2 of them, George.
Well, you've got to go with age. And when you go with age, obviously, I should have gotten Brady. But I would have thought that Aaron Rodgers would be there. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would have thrown Rodgers, but there's so many options. That's a pretty specific question.
Matthew Stafford would be there because the Lions were always playing from behind, and he was always having to throw late.
Yep.
That's one I felt good about.
Matt Ryan, deep down I would have known. I don't know if I would have guessed that though.
No, I mean Aaron Rodgers to me would be the obvious.
Yeah, just the production.
Yeah.
So what are these numbers? 3 of the top 5 passing yard leaders from the 2012 season are still active today. So 2, 4, and 5, those are the numbers in the order, I'm guessing?
I guess so.
Okay. Man, Michael stumped him.
Oh, he's come with some stuff.
He really has. And we have come with another hour of the George Plaster Show. It's the 5 o'clock hour, brought to you by Middle Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic. Whether it's a sports injury, sprained ankle, or a major joint replacement, MTBJ has the staff, training, and equipment that you need to take care of any patient in any circumstance. You can visit them on the web at mtbj.net for more information.
Okay, would I be right that before we talk to Jeff Pennington, that perhaps we need to learn something about his company?
I think you're right, George.
Then let's do it.
Let's do it.
Pennington Distilling Company was founded in 2011 with the goal of creating original craft spirits that embody the same character as the city they were born in, Nashville, Tennessee. From grain to glass, every step is taken to produce spirits of exceptional craftsmanship and quality. Pick up one of their award-winning products like Pickers Vodka, Davidson Reserve Whiskey, and Whisper Creek Tennessee Sip and Cream today. Or stop by the distillery in West Nashville and the Nations. Follow them on social media and online at PenningtonDistillingCo.com.
Hey, so let's get to the question I want to know, Jeff. I know you love golf, and I know you're a very good golfer. Is there a temperature when you say, not doing it?
Yeah, pretty much if it's going to be, if the high doesn't break 50, that's kind of my thing. If the high is going to be in the 50s, I usually play. I like playing. You know, there's no such thing as bad weather. It's usually bad gear.
No, you go out there right now.
You know,
get a little breeze. That's got nothing to do with gear.
I told you I've never been colder than last week in Vegas. That was the worst round ever. I mean,
I believe it. I believe it.
Can I ask you, how did you miss Brady? How did you miss Brady?
I know.
I immediately had 2 of them. I immediately went Stafford, Brady, and Rodgers. I still don't know how Rodgers was in there.
That one's a shock to me. Do you want to know the truth about when we do that question? When you're on the air, it's like you get a total brain cramp.
So what I want to know is who are the other 2? I know Peyton Manning's got to be one of the other ones missing. Who do we think the other 2 were?
I think Aaron Rodgers. I don't know for sure. I can check on that.
No, he's still active.
You got to believe. Still active.
Who's the 2 inactive ones? I would figure it'd be Peyton Manning, and then I was trying to figure out who
maybe Big Ben
could be because they threw a lot.
They sure did
in the heyday. We'll see if we can find that in a minute.
Yeah, I was thinking Phillip Rivers maybe.
Well, that's
because he was always playing from behind too. I mean, he in fantasy football. He was the best junk time fantasy football quarterback.
Oh wow! Look at this.
He could have
Tony Romo.
Really?
Tony Romo. Wow.
Yeah. Tony Romo and Drew Brees were the other 2.
So Peyton wasn't even in there.
Peyton was number 6. He was just outside of the top 5 in 2012.
I know some good quarterbacks back then.
Yeah.
I was saying the other day how excited I am about today's quarterbacks. I feel like across the NFL, we got a lot of really good quarterbacks, but I guess it's always like that.
Totally forgot about old Tony Romo.
Yeah. Jeff, when you sit in this chair in live TV,
the electric
chair, sometimes stuff just won't come to you. And you're sitting there afterwards going, how could I not get Brady?
So we play.
Stupid is that?
We play darts at our friend's house every Wednesday night. We have a group. We get together and throw darts. And we call the line the dumb line because you can add behind it. As soon as you walk up there and you have to do math, you're like, add 2.
Okay, let's do some math. Tennessee is a 21.5 point favorite.
It's up to 22 now.
22. Okay. In Columbia. Now, there was a day in time before Tennessee got this good that Tennessee and South Carolina had some wars, a lot of recruiting battles between Knoxville and Columbia, South Carolina. Is there a scenario where South Carolina plays this closer?
Luckily I was blessed to go to Tennessee in the late 90s and early 2000s. So I saw a lot of good football back then. And you know what? Even when we were the best team in the country or in the top 5 perennially or, leading SEC, South Carolina was always a tough game in Columbia. I've seen plenty of games where we had to sweat it, where Fulmer would be running that clock out up by 6 and just run that clock out with the ball. So it's, I kind of like Radler in South Carolina, with the spread. I think Tennessee wins, and they could cover, but I don't know. They are, what are they, 6-4, 6-5? I mean, they're
6-4, and they've been a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. When they're bad, they have been really bad.
And this is really their last big game. They would love to beat us. They don't like Tennessee. It's going into Columbia. They'd love to ruin our season. I hate that. I know you're a Vandy fan, so I won't make this short. But I feel like this is our last real game of the season.
I'm rooting for you guys.
But, I don't, man, maybe it's just because I'm nervous that this is our probably biggest test left, if you call it a test. And South Carolina's shown some good games here and there. So I don't know. I never bet against my team, so I won't take money on it, but I would take South Carolina with that many points. Probably let it keep marching up a little bit. It might end up at 23, 24 by the time it's done.
Right, exactly. Vandy surprised us a week ago. Went on the road.
Go Vandy.
Yeah,
who knows an SEC game.
Who knows what it means on Kentucky? But now they've got Florida at home, and Florida has all of a sudden found a running game that wasn't there for a while. 2 touchdown spread. What do you think?
I think it's Florida by a lot more. Florida's had an up and down season. They started off really good. They played Tennessee tough. They had a chance to beat us. And then after the Tennessee game, they kind of fell apart. Then they kind of came back together. I think their quarterback has improved every year. I'm scared of Florida in the next couple of years. That quarterback, as the game keeps slowing down for him, he's an athlete. So I think they go out, they make a statement. I think, Vanderbilt, I'm rooting for Vanderbilt because, hey, what they broke a pretty long streak. I don't know what the number is, but
26 in a row.
Whew, gosh. What was the last one they won? Tennessee, probably.
Missouri, 19.
Yep, 2019.
2019.
All right. Well, at least it wasn't us, but they had us for a couple of years. But I think Florida rolls big. I think Vandy's going to come in. They've won their season. Although, how many wins they have now? 4 or 5? 4 wins. So they'd have to win the last 2 games for any chance of who do they have? Or they got Tennessee. No, they quit. They lose big.
Let's go to Georgia, Kentucky, in Lexington, which is the only way right now this could be even remotely interesting. I don't pretend to know what's going on at Kentucky, other than I think Will Levis's situation, the injury may be more serious than they've let on. Can Kentucky keep it to that number?
Man, I don't know. I was really excited about this game, a few weeks ago. I thought Kentucky would win last week, get back on the road. Ever since Tennessee, we didn't just beat them. We pretty much just put a stomping on them. And
looks like it's like the wind out of their sails.
It did. And what's weird is they still only had 3 losses. End up 9-3. That's still a good season for Kentucky, but they just quit. And I don't know, Levis. Levis, I imagine his stock's fallen. He was a top 5 QB in the draft order somewhere, and he's just he hasn't looked good. Maybe he's injury. It's a weird game. I was actually excited about this game. I thought it could be a good game just because of the defenses, but I'm going to take Kentucky. I'm going to take Kentucky on this mainly because maybe just because Georgia's got the East wrapped up. They got the SEC championship wrapped up. Kentucky, this is pretty much their last chance to really put a good flag at the end of their season. They're in a bowl game at least. That's always been a big win for Kentucky, but hold it together, keep it close. Georgia's shown they've shown flashes throughout the year, kind of getting a little lazy in some of these games. The Missouri game comes to mind. The South Carolina game comes to mind.
Sloppy.
Just sloppy on offense, and their defense is always good. So But I'm going to take Kentucky on a hope that this could be a good game, because I'd love to see Kentucky be competitive. And, I was pretty proud of what, even though I'm not a Kentucky fan, I think what Stoops has done up there with the program, I'm a big fan of it. So hopefully he can get the team ready to go. It's number one team in the country coming to town. Well, get them pumped up. So, but if they get killed again, something's suspect. I mean, well, I guess getting killed by Georgia is probably not that normal, but if they keep playing the way they've been playing, something's suspect, because they just haven't looked like the Kentucky of the first 6 games.
Here's the really close line in the SEC. Ole Miss at Arkansas, Rebels by less than a field goal. I like Ole Miss because I think they're going to force Arkansas to score. What do you think?
I told you when you were picking games earlier and going through it, it's like this game's caught my eye all week. Arkansas, they lost to Liberty, and everybody's like, what in the world? And I think everybody realized Liberty was a much better team than people realize. Arkansas is just tough. Nobody really I never liked playing Arkansas whenever Tennessee has to play them. It's a bruising game. They love to, Ole Miss 2.5 slow. It seems like a sucker bet, doesn't it? It seems like it should be obviously Ole Miss. It seems like Vegas is setting us up for something. Obviously I'm going to take Ole Miss. I'm going to fall for the sucker bet. It seems too low. I would have guessed it's closer to 4.5 to 6. I think it's obviously probably one of the best SEC games of the day. Honestly, the other 3 games should be normal games, but the spreads are much higher than I usually like to look at. But, I think Ole Miss can roll. They should be able to. If they get into that ground game of in the trench war with Arkansas, they'll
be calling the Hogs.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, have a good weekend. We'll do some Titans stuff next week.
Oh, I love it. Go Titans last night. They look good.
They looked great. Have a good weekend, Jeff.
You too. Have a great weekend.
Our thanks to Jeff Pennington for joining us. After the break, Zach Womble will be stopping by to talk about the 3rd week of the high school football playoffs in the state of Tennessee. This is going to be a big night of football. This is Main Street Media Television.
Buying or selling a home can be a very personal experience. Why not go with the team that receives nearly all of their business from referrals? Clearly a trusted name in real estate. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners has sold more than 500 homes in the last 7 years. Voted best in Sumner County multiple times. Proven to be trusted with your most personal assets. Call the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners at 615-906-8458. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you. When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively
personal injury, a lot of tractor trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to. We have systems that work. We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
This is Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. People hire me because I use a customized, individualized, and personal approach for the person I'm working with. Everyone's situation is different. If you've lost a spouse or a parent and want to make sure your inheritance is utilized and does not just disappear, I can help with that. Call me at 615-235-1058 or email Eric at rockcastlewealth.com.
Well, we've got a big Friday night for you of high school football. And with that in mind, Friday Night Live will come on very early in the 6 o'clock hour. Zach Womble will join Billy and I in studio for that. Zach gives us a little bit of a preview as he joins us. How you doing?
I'm doing good, George. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for asking.
You bet. You bet. Gotta always make sure you're doing well, George, for sure.
That's very special.
I'm being serious, George. I'm just trying to bring some good energy your way and just make sure you're having a great day.
Man,
Is he looking for a loan?
That's great to hear. That's a great start to the night tonight.
Oh yeah. So give me the 2 or 3 games as the playoffs roll on that you'll really pay attention to tonight.
Well, there's several, to be honest with you, but I was able to narrow it down and no slight to the other games, but I think these games stand alone as kind of the best, and in no particular order because I think that these are kind of grouped together. But Page and Nolensville should be just an absolute fantastic football game. It was earlier this year with Nolensville winning in overtime. These two teams played last year in the playoffs, and so region foes. What more can you say? I think this football game is going to be everything and more that you want in a quarterfinal matchup. And whoever wins, much like the rest of these schools, will be well represented, in that semifinal round. But, can Nolensville continue this great season, 12-1 right now? Can they get to 13-1? Page, obviously, 10-2 themselves. So, clearly, they have a really good team. But, one thing I think could really help Nolensville is, they were able to go against one of the state's best in White County running back Malachi Dowell last week. And, his numbers this season puts him at second in all-time Tennessee high school football history, just to let you know what he did. So I think seeing that last week is really going to prepare Nolensville for a Page team that wants to run the ball early and often. And so I like Nolensville in that one. And then, grouping the private school games together because it's essentially Chattanooga versus Middle Tennessee. You've got Baylor coming to Brentwood Academy, and you've got Baylor coming to Brentwood Academy and McCallie coming to Montgomery Bell Academy. McCallie MBA is obviously a rematch from earlier this year, a game that MBA won on the road 23-20. I was talking with Russell Venozzi about this earlier this week, Mainstream Prep's editor. To me, it really feels like that's when we understood and realized just how good NBA was when they won at McCallie. So a chance for them to do it a second time. And then Brentwood Academy, can George McIntyre lead that Brentwood Academy team to the finals? We'll have to see. And will it be an all Chattanooga final? Will it be an all mid-state final? Will it be kind of split? I'm excited to find out. And then just a couple more. Beach Cane Ridge, I think, is going to be a really good football game in the Class 6A bracket. And Springfield Henry County in Class 5A, I think, is going to be a really good one as well.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the news that got out earlier with Mayor Cooper announcing that all of the metro schools are going to get artificial turf surfaces. Did you all expect this?
I think maybe Tyler might be a better person to ask that. He's the one that broke the story, but nevertheless, I mean, it's just a great thing for all of Metro Nashville Public Schools, to have. I mean, because let's be honest, if you look at schools like, say, East Nashville, for example, East Nashville, they play all of their games on one field, whether it be football, middle school football, soccer, youth events. I mean, by the time we get to this game, and listen, they're at Smith County tonight, so they don't have to worry about it. But last year, when they played White House in this game, it's essentially a mud bowl out there.
Yeah,
and it becomes a hazard for so many teams. And just shout out to the Tennessee Titans. They're jumping in to donate $5 million, $1 million each year for the next 5 years. The nonprofit profit organization Fans, they're raising, I think, $5 million by themselves. If you don't know about Fans, it's a nonprofit dedicating to essentially helping Metro Nashville Public School athletics.
Right.
But I think this is just a great thing for Metro Nashville schools. I mean, they desperately need it. And one thing that Tyler pointed out that I didn't think of, that I found interesting in his story that's on MainStreetPreps.com, that it totally makes sense. But with this, now Metro Nashville can put in for a TWSAA state soccer tournament or something to that magnitude, because you have the facilities to host several games at one time. So this is going to be very beneficial to Metro Nashville Public Schools.
Yeah, it's some very encouraging news, because let's face it, they have, for the most part, when you look around, it always feels like they're fighting from behind.
It really does. I mean, it's hard not to see that, but it kind of goes with the theme that we've had all year, George, right? Of just kind of this resurgence of Metro Nashville, all this positive pub, all these great vibes, and it continued once again with this news. And listen, we've got 3 teams in the playoffs at this point in the playoffs with East Nashville, Pearl Cone, and of course the third team, Cane Ridge. So it's just the positive news continues around Metro Nashville Public Schools.
Okay, each week you all have a player of the week. Who was it for last Friday?
Yeah, shout out to the Mount Pleasant community. Kevin Carter was the fan-voted player of the week. He earned 39% of the overall vote. He edged out East Robertson's Zach Prince and Nolensville's Samson Johnson for the award. Cooper had a 30-yard interception return, a forced fumble, 8 tackles, and 5 catches for 53 yards in the 18-13 playoff loss to Riverside last week. So obviously the team fell short, but Kevin Cooper did everything he could to keep their season alive.
Okay, good stuff. 30 minutes from now, give or take, 45 minutes, we'll see you in our palatial studio.
Yeah, I think we got Mo Patton coming on about 6:15. So as long as we get in before then, we'll be good to go.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you. Thank you. See you.
Zach Womble, as you can tell, he is really wired to what's going on in the high school game. I want to say I'm wired to what's going on in the college game. The question is, can I prove it when we come back? It's Plaster's bets of the day. I got a bunch of them, most of them on the college level. So stick around. This is Main Street Media Television.
This holiday season, the largest lantern event in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. See more than 1,000 Chinese lanterns. Welcome back to Zoo Illumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.
A man was critically injured following a crash early Friday morning. Officers at the scene said the victim was driving a pickup truck when he lost control of the vehicle. The pickup veered left and went into a ditch. A front seat passenger was wearing a seatbelt and escaped the crash without injury. The driver was not wearing a seatbelt and was ejected from the truck. He died at the scene. Law enforcement writes tickets to save lives.
Christmas for Kids is back at the Ryman this November 21st. Christmas for Kids provides children with shopping sprees, coats, and unforgettable experiences every year. This annual fundraising concert helps bring that experience to more kids. This year is hosted by Phil Vassar and includes Chris Young. The frontmen, which is Richie McDonald, formerly of Lone Star, Larry Stewart of Restless Heart, Tim Rushlow, formerly of Little Texas, Essex County, and a whole lot more. Christmas for Kids, November 21st. To purchase tickets, go right now to Ryman.com.
When I made the decision to host the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night, Strike and Spare is where I turned. And what a wise decision that turned out to be. They have 5 locations in our area with family attractions. They're perfect for birthdays, groups and corporate outings, and holiday parties. For more info, it's simple. Go to strikeandspare.com. Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
Welcome back into the George Plaster Show. It is now time for Plaster's Best Bets of the Weekend. They're powered by Bart Durham Injury Law. Since 1975, Bart Durham has aggressively protected the rights of a broad range of victims of car accidents and personal injury in both Tennessee and Kentucky. If you, too, have seen your life interrupted by an injury on a highway, in a hospital, or at your workplace, let their attorneys do the work fighting for the full financial compensation that you need. Learn more about Bart Durham Injury Law by logging on to bartdurham.com. Okay, George, let's check out what you were able to accomplish last night. Good night. Titans and the Tulane Green Wave pulled through for you last night. How confident in those picks were you?
Pretty confident. If you remember, I made the comment that Tulane will win this game by more than a touchdown. They won it. Something like 56-17. They went haywire. SMU, I think, is overrated. Tulane, perhaps underrated. And I just felt like going in that they were not going to let their season end with 2 losses in a row at home. And they really came out and spanked SMU. And good for the Titans. I thought they had a great shot to win in Green Bay. Not only are the Titans playing pretty well right now, but I'm not buying Green Bay. This whole run the football thing, I'm not convinced
Rodgers,
that this is,
Rodgers doesn't have anybody to throw to. I mean, he's got
that's a problem.
Watson and Tunyon, and that's
about it.
That's pretty much it.
But for a good while this year, you could say the exact same thing about the Titans.
Yeah, I do think I don't know that the Packers are dead, though, by any stretch of the imagination. I think, they've got a lot of issues.
It's only because of the weakness of the league. They're 4-7.
Right. They are 4-7, but because the league around them is so bad this year,
they might have a chance.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what we were saying about the Titans a few weeks ago. So maybe they string together some wins, but I think the more impressive team was the Titans, of course, and that they should be the talking point.
By the way, speaking of the Titans right now, as they moved into the 3 seed, I don't think it's going to last this way, but they get no favors at the moment as the 3 seed. Here's what I mean by that. As the 4, they would have hosted in the opening round JETS, Jets. As the 3, they would get the 6 seed, and as of this moment, it's the Buffalo Bills.
Wow.
You don't want any part of Buffalo. Now,
how the tables have turned.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to stay that way, but for the moment, that's kind of an ironic piece of
all this. Yeah.
Don't be sure that being the 3 is better.
This is going to be a really fun finish to the NFL season.
It's going to be wild.
I mean, who knows what's going to happen?
It is going to be wild.
Can't wait. Who knows what's going to happen this weekend in college football? It's time for George to reveal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks. Technically 5, but you're picking on 6 teams this weekend with the NFL teaser towards the end. George, we start in the Big 12. TCU at Baylor.
Okay. 2 things. First of all, TCU got anybody's attention who watched that game Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
They are better than they have been getting credit for. And a lot of us, and listen, I'll raise my hand and say I was right in there as one of these people who said there is no way they're going to Texas and to Baylor and win. Well, off of what I saw last Saturday, I'm taking it all back. TCU is really good. They've got a senior heady quarterback in Max Duggan. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Baylor laid a gigantic egg last Saturday night against K-State. Kansas State is another one of these very underrated teams. That's the one that TCU ought to be worried about in the title game. I think they cover. I think they win by more like a touchdown or more. I think TCU is the play.
I like the pick, but we'll see. That was a big emotional win last week in Austin. The aura of Baylor, playing Baylor on the road, isn't quite Texas, so we'll see how TCU kind of bounces back from that win. George, let's move on to the SEC. We talked about this with Jeff Pennington.
Yeah.
This should be a good game. I mean, Ole Miss hasn't played well as of late. Neither has Arkansas, though. So it could be ugly. Ole Miss at Arkansas. What do you got?
I think Ole Miss will be able to do what they want to do offensively, which is get the ball downfield and get it downfield in a hurry. Arkansas, I can't figure them out. They played LSU really tough last week. Their defense was pretty darn good. They got all over. They got all over Jaden Daniels.
They did, yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen with Jackson Dart and Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss wins this game, and I think they win it by about a touchdown.
I like that one. I like those first 2 picks.
You're going to like the third. Wrong team's favored.
Moving on. Texas Tech is a underdog.
Yes.
On the road at Iowa State. Why?
I don't know. Wrong team's favored here. Iowa State doesn't score. Now, I'm not saying Iowa State won't play tough at home. They will. But I think Texas Tech is for real. Texas Tech scared the daylights out of TCU a couple of weeks ago. And I came away going, whoa, they're pretty good. Texas Tech wins this game outright.
Okay. Moving on, one more college game.
You like the confidence?
I do. I mean, those first 3 picks, I don't have any qualms with those, George, so I like them. Pac-12, Utah at Oregon.
This is a tough one.
I'm surprised you're touching this one.
Well, it's a tough game. But again, Oregon's had a really good season that got derailed last week at home against Washington. Are they going to allow their season to go up in smoke with 2 consecutive losses? Utah is more physical. They're probably more physical than any of the Pac-12 teams. Oregon has more of the skill people. Bo Nix has had a great year. He will win this game for them. It'll be close in Eugene, but Oregon finds a way, and that gets me off to a 4-0 start.
I don't know why you're touching that, George. I know this isn't a parlay or
Hold on a
anything.
second.
So,
is your opinion asked for in this? Have you put your neck on the line? Billy's record is 1-12.
I have not. Maybe we need to start tracking that and see see how the old producer
because
does.
You pulled this stunt on me last week where you were, well, I didn't like
with
your
the
play.
Notre Dame. I didn't like that
Right.
you going against Notre Dame, and that Notre Dame ended up winning a couple weeks
As though
ago.
there's no bias there.
I'm going to keep track of this Utah-Oregon game.
You do that.
For that matter. Let's move on to the NFL game here, George. 2 NFL games you're betting on. You like Buffalo.
Well,
at Ford Field in an indoor.
Yeah. And
if that game even gets played, I think it's up in the air now at this point.
You mean getting Buffalo out of Buffalo?
Right. I mean, I don't know if that's game going to be played.
Well, Buffalo, if they get there, the turf will be really good for them because it'll eliminate all of the weather situations. They're considerably better right now than the Browns. Deshaun Watson is still a couple of weeks away from playing, and so it's still Jacoby Brissett. Now, the other game has gotten a lot of discussion in the gambling community. Why is Minnesota, the Vikings are 8-1. Why are they a dog at home to Dallas? What does Vegas know that we don't know?
I wonder if Kirk Cousins isn't playing, but hasn't been announced yet.
No, I mean, I don't think there's any of that. He came out of the Buffalo game just fine health-wise. So what I'm doing, I'm teasing Minnesota up to plus 7.5. And I'll be shocked if that doesn't work. First of all, do I think Minnesota could win the game outright? Sure could.
Yeah.
I mean, are they better than Dallas today? Yeah, they are.
I don't see
So why
how.
does Vegas have Dallas favored?
Who knows?
Nobody knows.
We're going to figure out as soon as that game starts, though, because it's going to be a big player that's out. I guarantee you.
That is that's the late game that virtually the entire country will get.
Looking forward to it. Vegas, we got to figure out what Vegas knows that we don't know.
Because I've used this line a few times this year. What does Vegas know that we don't? And sometimes
that's a ridiculous line.
Sometimes the answer is they don't.
But that line, that's almost preposterous.
Well, it's still people. When you say Vegas, it's still human beings that put this stuff out there. And what we as human beings on the other end are trying to do is say, wait a minute. Minnesota's 8-1, Dallas isn't. Minnesota's at home, Dallas isn't. So why is Dallas favored? I don't know. We'll find out.
We sure will.
Sunday about 3:30. We're out of here, but Friday Night Live will commence in about 25 minutes. So come on back and join us. Until then, have a great weekend, everybody.